last week we talked a little bit about using the third step prayer and asking for it to be relieved of the bondage of self. And then you had said that it's kind of denying a condition that we're in now by thinking of it as a
Well, it
future.
can be. In his case, it was.
Okay.
Not saying it is, but in guy
Okay.
who's sharing, yes. So, but it showed a typical thing that happens, yeah, where we're
Yeah,
wishing for a condition while we're actually in that condition we're wishing for.
I got it. And so I was reflecting on that after the meeting, and during the day I just so happened to be praying for grant me the serenity to accept the things. And I thought about it as like, well, you know what, Michael, maybe perhaps you are kind of in the serenity right now, and that I'm in the act of practicing what you were talking about. Is
Yes.
oh, okay. All right.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what happens. So someone throws out a possibility, and then that possibility is applied in your own life and you see it. Yeah, that's like embracing the truth in a sense. Yeah. First you hear about it, then something introduces you to it, you embrace it, now you see it. You saw something. Yeah. But it's not someone who's praying for it. It could be they're in a chaotic, whatever condition. But it's good to know that you may be in the condition you're praying for in the future right now. Yes, you see? Because the people who were describing the book, they only had 4 years of sobriety, the most. Yeah? When the book came out, 1939, this movement started in 35. Obviously, they were doing other things before that, like the Oxford group. Yes, but so they describe quite a lot what it's like, and then they tell you what it's maybe gonna be like, but they can't describe what it is like because they were only 4 years sober. Many of us have been sober for 40 years, 30 years, yes? So obviously everything changes in time, and so has the program of recovery in its effects. So at one point, certain things may be critically needed that may not be critically needed later. Yeah. So you outgrow the tools, so to speak, of recovery, and you get more refined tools in a way. Yeah. No, I don't even call refined tools, but so something that you had to say, you may live now. Yeah. So we were trying to announce our willingness to be brought somewhere. We shared what it was like where we are now, and then the higher power brings us there, and then the condition has changed now. It's not a wishful, hopeful condition. You're in it. Yeah. So sometimes we don't have the eyes to see that, and a simple reminder can trigger it because, yeah, like the guy had, that's what happened at that meeting. It was actually quite a interesting thing because he had been in the habit of saying the third step prayer, please relieve me of the bondage of self. And then he noticed he was in the bondage of self and saying it as if like a desire for a future condition, he was denying the present condition of being relieved of the bondage of self. That's not a very unique thing. That's a habit of the head, yes? The habit of the head is a lot of conditions that we want or we hope to be in because they need to be boxed up in a conceptual frame in the head. It doesn't recognize it's in that condition now. Yes? Yeah. These things are just things you notice over the years. Yeah. You notice that something, it's stuck on an old condition and it's praying as if it wants that to be changed. It's already been changed for many of us. Yes? Yeah. It's like doing a crossword puzzle. You already got that line, that word. Move on to the next. Yes? You just don't. Yeah. Haven't you noticed sometimes? I worked with this guy still sober today, very earnest and everything like that. But that earnestness was being used by the head. So he was inventorying everything. Yes? Like, what was the motive behind me going left on Haight Street, or if I should have gone right? Yes. And it was getting a little bit, it turned into an obsession with self, literally. Yeah. So I wouldn't have said anything, but I was in a position of being his sponsor. So that gave me, I needed to say something. They said, listen, I think you're at a point where you should be enjoying your recovery more than analyzing fucking everything every second. Yes? Yeah. So this is what happens. Yeah. So some people are praying for a condition that may be readily available right now. Yeah. Maybe the door is wide open. It's time for you to walk through, not keep knocking. Yes. The door is open, walk through. That's the next phase. Yeah. Do you, yeah. Do you think the book, there wouldn't have been an additions of stories if the people were 40 years sober, 50 years sober? Yeah. They would have described what it looks like to fully outgrow certain conditions and fully grow into other conditions, which is like the free range alcoholic. So now a lot of people have gone through that. We don't have a book to write. Yes. Yeah. So the head loves to slow roll everything, as you know. It wants to remember a fucking slight for 50 years and forget a miracle in about 20 minutes. Yeah. You have to know its nature. It's not unique. We all share it. Yeah. It wants to, if you're having a great time, it gets suspicious about how long it's going to last. If you have a weird little feeling, it says it's the commencement of a lifelong depression. Yes. Yeah. I mean, do you have to, how many times do you have to see snake behavior to realize the snake? Yes. I mean, literally. Haven't we seen enough of to come to the conclusion it's a snake? I don't see how. I'm super surprised that what happened. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like let's move on a little bit at times. Yes. I said a lot of the serenity prayer for years. I don't say it now. Did I fall off the path? No, I didn't. The path went further and it changed. Yes. If something happens and I'm overwhelmed, I'll maybe rely on it for that day. Yes. I'll say, hey, I'm entirely ready to whatever. Oh, that's the 6 and 7. That's what I actually rely on more. It's just bringing what I see that used to be called me to 6 and 7 and let it get reconfigured and put to better use. Yeah. I mean, that's an active prayer in a way where you don't pray to have the garbage removed. You bring the garbage to the can. Yes. And you put it out. That's step 6 and 7. That to me is like the faith without works is dead. To me, faith in this program without the working of 6 and 7 can be dead, because the same shit that you notice, which is not of you, and give it away, if you don't, it keeps rolling, it keeps orbiting as if it's you. Yes. It's like getting constipated. All the shit's in there, but you're not letting it up. You're not dropping it. Yeah. You're not pitching the loaf, so to speak. So in this case, 6 and 7 is faith with works. Yes. I have faith that something that struck me sober where no human power could do it, I have faith that it can remove shit that's foreign to me. I have faith in that. So the most thing I use in the program is 6 and 7. And usually it comes in the morning through remembering the dreams I were in. Because the dreams show the deep mental grooves of the conditioning. Yes. That's what I see. I have dreams that have the same theme over and over again that I'm not going to be taking care of, really, basically. What do? I wake up, I just say, hey, I'm entirely ready to have this shit reconfigured, basically. And I ask that power to do it. Yeah, that to me is faith, the faith in the higher power, and the works is step 6 and 7. Yeah. Yeah. So, and a lot of days nothing happens. Yeah. I don't do anything to cause me to have to to write a list of people who I owe amends to because I didn't do shit. Yeah. So 8 and 9 get skipped quite a lot. I don't do shit. I don't have to write it down, and I don't make amends because I didn't step on anyone's toes, basically, today. Yeah? Yeah. Am I looking for something? No, I'm not looking for something. Where did I meant something when I said, I don't think I'm that important. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm the head cow in the herd. I'm just grazing like we all are, trying to stay out of other people's business. And yeah, yeah. And definitely stay out of the outcome business for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I see it, Michael, today.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think Mickey brought it up one time about we work the steps and then suddenly we find that the steps are working us.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And a lot of the introductory book is about working the steps.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then you become the extension of the book when the steps start working you. And now you are the extension of the big book. You are the living edition of the big book. Yeah. You are page 165. Yeah. You're the living edition of the big book. You are the living edition of the big book.
I think next time I'll introduce myself that way. Instead of Michael
Well,
Alcoholic, I'll say
instead of
Michael page
going, let me go to
165.
page, instead of going, let me go to page 253, let me go to my own experience and I'll share it from there. Sometimes you're doing a person a disservice trying to save them from their bottom. I learned that in recovery. I learned it. So on page 263 of the living edition called Paul H., I learned that sometimes you're wanting to help is a disservice to someone because it's keeping them from their bottom. And at this point in the game, the bottom is necessary. They're not getting it any other way. Yeah. Did I feel like that when I came in? No, I didn't. But I've learned to feel like that from what I've seen. Yes. We are the living extension of the book. Have you followed the suggestions? Have you practiced the prayers, the meditations, everything? You are the living extension of the book. Yeah? Yeah. We are the experience of the strength and the hope. Yeah, we are. Yeah. And some of us are sitting in a certainty that something is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Period. Continue the stories. Yeah. Yeah. So when someone comes here and says they're matched with something they cannot do for themselves, yes, what's the suggestion? Let's do service then, yeah? So you get out of yourself by being used by the new employer, and suddenly the new employer's rules pertain to you. Being all powerful, it's going to take care of you. Yeah? Yes. Yeah? Someone else comes here, says da da da, dee da da da. You can give them other advice. Yeah. But if someone proclaims they're up the ass of self, yeah, and they've gone through the divine proctologist in the phone book, we go service. Yeah. Because service will take them right out of the ass of self. And the best way to see the ass of self is not in it, I'll tell you. It's best to be out of it to recognize the ass of self. The interior you may call home if you're seeing in it. You want to be out of it. And what will do that? A book, maybe, uh, praying, maybe, but I think service is the best bet. Yeah. It just pulls you right out. It does. Yeah. But I'm really deep. It doesn't matter how deep you think you are. It pulls you right out. I saw it every month in the years. You know, in the beginning, you're a wreck. Yeah, literally. The only thing that's keeping you afloat is grace and the community. Literally. Yeah. You're ready to make bogus mistakes at every turn. Marrying somebody that maybe shouldn't be married, all this stuff. So here you are getting battered by the shores of life. I mean, the waves of life. And then you make it to 6 months and they tell you, hey, now you can do hospital and institutions. Yeah. We hope that you're under the influence and you're going to be sane enough to bring this message into a place where people can't get out, let's say. All right, great. Sign me up. Okay. Every month, I had like three, I think I had three of them a month, different ones, every month. Okay. The end of the month, I had to go to one place. I was maybe stewing in something for the whole month, let's say a couple of weeks, stewing it, try to, watch Die Hard 8 to try to distract myself. It was just boring me a new one. I go to that because it didn't matter how I felt. I had a commitment. Yeah. And I went to that commitment. And I'll tell you, no matter how far or no matter how much furniture I had installed in the ass of self, something pulled me out in like less than 12 minutes. Yeah. And I was literally free from what had been occupying me for the last few weeks. Yes. I've experienced that. That's not a metaphysical thing. I've experienced it. I've experienced being way up the ass of self. No divine proctologist had a long enough arm to get me out of there. Yet something took me out of there. Month after month after month for 11 or 12 years. I'm convinced that this shit works because it worked. Yeah. I'm not convinced out of blind faith. I'm convinced because it's worked. Something struck me sober that no human power could do or deliver. I'm completely convinced of this. This is what happened. You can convince yourself with something that didn't happen, but then you got to really, really reinforce it all day. This happened. I'm convinced. Yeah. Let's go get on with it. Now, most of the time, I see a lot of what I'm not. Yeah. Which is, I think, a part and parcel of what has defeated me, this foreign nature called self, and I bring it to step 6 and 7. And I ask it to, hey, I just say, reconfigure it, if you want, change it. Because the energy can't be created nor destroyed, but energy here gets formed into something, yes? And maybe the form of the energy is like locked and it's not alive anymore. And I'm like a storage unit. And it's time for that shit to be reconfigured. Yeah. And I believe this is the greatest faith in AA is the work of 6 and 7, tell you the truth. If you're talking about works, faith without works doesn't go anywhere. What is that? Work doesn't have to mean sweating and flexing muscles and shit like that. The work can become a habit. And the habit is when you recognize what has defeated you and its little siblings and its little possibilities, you bring it to 6 and 7. Yes? Let it get worked over and then it will drop back in your life. Yeah? And maybe it will serve you in others instead of enslave you in others. So yeah, you want to see the work of faith in recovery? It's step 6 and 7, literally, I feel. Why keep claiming the shit that gets presented in the head as yours? It's not serving you. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the thing. I feel a lot of the times we're in a condition that we love to get into the condition, but we're already in there. Yeah. But we listen to the head that says, oh, no, you're definitely out of there. Yeah. And we have such faith in the head, we do its works. Yes. Yes. It can't drive to Safeway and get the vodka. You do. Yeah. Faith in it, you become its works. Yeah. Faith in self, you become its works. You act out based on faith in self. And you self brings you to jail, but you're the one that goes to jail. Yes. Yeah. So faith without works is happening now. Yeah. I hope the faith is not being worked on by the self and now is being used by the higher power in our life. Yeah. But I'll tell you, a whole lot of the shit that we seemingly produce was faith in self. Yeah. We made decisions based on it. We reacted to life based on it. We followed its directions with great devotion. No matter how much evidence that it was unmanageable, it was not managerial quality. It just threw the thing is, well, if I could just manage better, it's all going to work out. As that's, they say, one of the major delusions. Yep. Yeah. You need it replaced with a new employer. You do. I was sitting here. Do you mind? We have a minute or two till we get things. We're having a storm again here, Northern California, where I am. And we have a big chime, and the chime was going off all night. But it really wasn't the chime going off, it was being moved by the wind, yes? So the wind is moving the chime. And in this lovely production, people have bought chimes that are never going to chime out. It's the wind, yes? The wind comes, moves the thing, bars, and they hit, and then there's a beautiful music. Yeah. But don't forget the generator or the engine of that is not the chime itself, it's the wind. Here we are, the wind is the new employer, the old employer. Yeah. The old employer used the wind to create calamity and fucking earthquakes and depression and all this fucking shit. And just as the old employer, the new employer will use the same wind and make the beautiful sound of a chime. Yes? Which do you want to play? You're not playing the role of wind, that's for sure. You are the driven. Yeah? What is it you would like to be driven by? Why not do an honest assessment of what has driven you, which is self? Tell the truth about it through the process of recovery, the 12 steps, yes? And finalize and give life to that decision you made to turn your will and life over to the care of something greater than you. Let's just get on with it, yeah? And then report back. And you'll see you're traveling much lighter than you ever have, yes? Things that used to baffle you, you have a solution to them. When I didn't know what to do, I did something in the past, which was insane. Now, when I don't know what to do, I don't do anything. And then things start pointing and working out. Yeah? Yeah, you're not a rock. You're not a stone. You can be changed. You can be changed. No matter how deep you think you were in the ass of self, you can live outside the ass of self. Yes, every one of us. None of us are unique. Yeah. Put yourself in this position. Lay on that operating table. Don't get up. Don't play doctor. Something's going to work out. Yeah. And then bitch about it after 12 years of being under its influence instead of 12 minutes at a meeting. Yeah. Oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, you're the great assessor of what works or doesn't work. Give me a fucking break. And the funny thing is, the people who hate AA always have to come back to AA because there's no other place to go. I hate AA. Well, and then you see him 2 months later. Oh, so you can hate anything here because there's people in it. Yeah. People fuck things up. People are like an infective agent. Yeah. They are. It's just we carry something. And, yeah. Yeah. I think knowing that we carry something, we need to be carried by something else, I hope. Yeah. And I hope you've met this idea of something greater than yourself that you can actually surrender to. Really. Just give the width of canvas that you have as a sail and let that wind blow you. Yeah. And maybe your worst qualities will be put to good use. They will. Yeah. What I've noticed or observed over the years, everything can be value can be extracted out of everything through the eyes of the higher power. Yeah. The worst thing, the thing that you thought was completely useless, will be put to great use when turned over. Yeah. Wow. Hmm. So yeah, like faith without works is dead. Yes. 6 and 7. Da da da. People do work. They move papers. Yeah. And then people do work. They dig a big hole. But both are work. Yes. The work may not be heavy, but it's work in a sense until you get into the habit of it. Yeah. Yeah. So 6 and 7, work it. It's part of the working steps. There you go. Yes, isn't it? Do you believe 6 and 7 was only meant to be worked once, or is it a working? The aspect of it is a working step, which means on and on. Yeah, yeah. All right.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Paul. It wasn't until I heard you talk about 6 and 7, and in the way that you used it like as a small exercise, that I ever really like paid much attention to it. I mean, I thought it was there's 2 paragraphs in the book, and check, I did it, and that was it. And but today I can honestly say that like I do when I do get jammed up, when that guy cuts me off on the freeway, hey, I don't know what's going on with that fella. And God save me from being angry, reconfigure this energy that I have right now so that I can be more useful to you and others. And I've actually, and then like without noticing it, I go about my turns and everything else, and then it's out of my mind. Where before, I, I hate to say this, but I would have followed that guy home.
Yes, yes. Well, that's the point. And the thing is, a lot of the relief is because you're not noticing it anymore. You only noticed it because it was anxious or agitated. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the solution that that or ever present noticing anything that's disturbing you, yeah, can't notice it because you're not disturbed anymore. So it's hard to see the solution because the solution uh, it suspends the problem, so to speak. Yeah. Are you noticing everything when it's going well? No, you're usually
no,
noticing everything when you think it's going wrong. So
right.
a lot of times you don't notice the solution because it's about negating that obsessive noticing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you don't, what it's like for the shit to be removed through 6 and 7. You you just vaguely can say traveling lighter. You can describe 30 pages of what it was like when it wasn't removed. Yeah. because you're noticing it gave it a lot of meaning. Yeah. Now that it's
Yeah.
been removed, there's nothing to give meaning to, so you're traveling lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
People can describe the problem. It's hard to describe the solution. You live the solution. A life constantly being described is part of the problem. Yes? We have a life that is constantly described by the head. That's part of the problem. The solution, you're living. Yeah? You're not listening to a description of your life, you're living a life. Yes. We're always living a life, but many of us are just listening to the description of that living at the expense of the living. We have now been reborn in living our life. We've had a spiritual awakening from living the description, and now we have gone back to living our life. Is there a description? Yes. Yes. But what's first is the living of the life. Yes. Yes. Jeez. It doesn't need to be explained. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. I've wanted to be out of here my whole life since about 6. I mean, I was trying to figure out how to get out of this place. That whole thing got ended. I don't know how many years again because I'm not noticing. I don't notice when the solution works. I only notice when there isn't a solution. Yeah. I don't know what happened, but now I'm completely in Novato, California. Why? Because I'm in Novato, California. That's it. That's the only reason. Yeah. I swear I did not live like that for years and years and years. I was constantly trying to get out of here. I was out of my feelings, out of the situations, out of this, out of that. That whole thing got completely shut down. Yeah. I'm here on a dreary day in Novato. Yeah. The dog's pissed, but it's accepted the fact it's not going out. Yeah, the cat won't go out because it's raining. Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Michael.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have Miss Volkman has her hand up. Hi, Leanne.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Thank you, Michael, also for bringing this up. I just wanted to make it short, not to go into the story anymore. My head was overloaded these days. I had a hunting situation in the place where I'm living. I'm living in Spain, and by law since the 80s, basically all territory in Spain have been declared as hunting ground, so they don't care if you're private property or not. So it's quite a pretty strong thing. And so from time to time, they pass through your land with hunting dogs and everything. And now it happened last Sunday. I have to secure my cat and myself because these hunting dogs are super aggressive because they literally starve them out. Yeah, so it's everything here, animal abuse, it's horrible stuff in my eyes still. And the hunters, they're very unfriendly, I would say also aggressive people. And I've never talked to them before. And first there were some hunters, I went down, I was still peaceful. And he was asking me right away if he is molesting me. And I said, well, yes, and your cars are parked on private property. So it was peaceful. He just disappeared. But shortly after, then there came the big crowd of hunters with hunting dogs. And that's pretty much a war zone. It's honestly a war zone. I'm not exaggerating. And anyway, to come to the end to the story fast, I was feeling the emotion, anger rising up because after I really felt completely disrespected. And so I was starting to scream at one of these hunters. And yet in the same time, I knew now I'm being taken over but I also could be present in this being taken over and just allowing it to just happen and to just let it out, honestly. And I let it out. And nothing happened, the guy remained passive aggressive. And I returned to my car, was going back to the house. And later on, I shared the story many times, and I had a lot of advice to go to the police to report this. It's the only chance something ever can maybe change. And I did this today. And I must say, today I could really feeling the power also coming back, because the emotion of anger, what I never felt on such a deep level, how quickly it changed all your bodily system. Also, you get completely energetically depleted, and completely exhausted. And so it was a good moment to let this go once and for all, I hope. And so today, the day at the police and at the rural police, they were so godlike, I must say. The people, they were so friendly and understanding. They are also not happy with the situations, in fact. And they were happy I made a report, and they want actually also people to make more reports. And I could see that the situation still here, being in the grip of the self, is being given over to a higher power. And I find myself also in a sense in service now, because it's a big collective subject also. Many people who are living in the countryside, want to have a quiet life and are being completely disturbed. Yeah, so that was a good thing. So I see, it can turn into a good thing. And I'm also feeling in my power again and not helpless and victimized or anything. So it's good, yeah.
Oh, great. And if you want to find something, maybe do a 4-column little inventory. I resent hunters, yes. Second column, why? Because they have the right, quote unquote, to come on my land at any time. What part of the instinctual agenda is this affecting? Well, my security, emotional, yes.
And physical.
Yes, physical, your relationships to people that are hunters and all this. And then bring it to column 4 and ask, put away their role in it and look at your role in it. And you'll see self's role in it. So where are you, or were you inconsiderate, dishonest, selfish, or self-seeking and frightened? Yes. So there you go. So you've done the little thing. And instead of seeing their role in things, which is clear, that's what you presented. You presented to the police their role in things. You take a little time to look at your role in things, yeah, and see that. Doesn't mean anything. Just share it maybe with somebody, and there you go. That's how the 12 steps work, in a sense. Yeah.
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 Thank
It doesn't matter if I'm not feeling the anger. I wanna check out why, or what was trying to prolong that feeling of anger in me, which is the head, so to speak. And so then you watch. And so here, you're in Rome, you got to do what the Romans do until you work a plan or get a collective to change the law. The law is they can hunt wherever they want. Yeah. And so you do the 4th column, and you see what has defeated you in the past. And it's the seed of the defeat is in the selfishness, the self-seeking, and frightened. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an aversion for general
for
injustice, seen as injustices, and being in a sense helpless, not being able to do something to change something. This is an issue here. Yeah, I mean.
Well, welcome to the world. Maybe it'll motivate you to get a little community together, have a meeting, and say, hey, we don't want these people to be able to go over our land. And maybe this event will spur you into action and to produce a new law. Who knows?
Yeah, and I really feel this now, even if it's just a little step and a little part at the time, but to bring this information, I got also a lot of valuable information today that we can actually change something that I didn't know, and bring this to people also, to share it.
And know what you can do.
They can share it, and
you can go on their property and hunt vegetables.
No, I don't want to do that.
See how they like it at 1 in the morning. I'm just
No, they
blowing up
are.
some carrots.
Honestly, I think I don't know if they're alcoholics too, but I think they are really of high aggressive order. These people, when you're a hunter. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go there. Just yeah,
No, no, no. I have had my taste. It's enough.
yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So yes. Well, thank you for that share. Because again, in a sense, you have faith in this, it turned into works, and then the subtler faith in works is doing the inventory. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's work, isn't it? And it says faith without work. Yeah, well, there's the work. You do an inventory, you make amends if necessary. Maybe it spurs you on to have a meeting with the community and change the law. Who knows what's going to happen? This is how almost every meeting of AA was started by a resentment of a previous meeting in a lot of ways. So resentments have been used to produce a giant community. This is this is a this is a result of something. The Zoom's here. This was a result. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think we mentioned this is not an AA meeting? Because I learned. Yeah, I learned a lot from sharing for the last 33 years. Yeah. Yeah. All right, thanks. Thank you for that share. Great.
Thank you, Ms. Hookman. Paul, we have Michael has his hand up.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to ask about, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase the question, but maybe skillful means, and just maybe riffing on what Leanne was saying, because I just get a bit confused, because it feels like in Leanne's case, or generally, in the world, it takes like a kind of conviction to get things like that done, whether it's taking a stand against this hunting law, or but even things like, for example, making amends, or even love towards others, or love towards oneself. There's like a, I just feel, this is kind of hard to put this into words, but I feel like I've experienced that out of self thing, but it feels like I don't know what basket to put my eggs in when in Rome, when in this world, and that leaves me feeling very confused and unable to really trust myself. I feel, and I
Well,
don't know if there's any solution to that, or
well, I think there's an ongoing solution, which is you're going to face life successfully. Yeah.
does
So
the question make sense at all, or?
yes, I think you're speaking about an interface with when in Rome, do as the Romans do, with the life as we know it now. Yes?
Yeah, and maybe, there's that term skillful means, which is about, I suppose, creating a better situation for oneself and for others. And yeah,
Well,
just for me, there's like a conflict between like that maybe step 6 and 7 of surrendering, and then at the same time it's like, well, if you surrender all the way, then how do you how do you then come back in and stand up to the hunting law? If you've surrendered, it's like, or
yes.
or love, or love oneself even, or just all of these impulses that come up in the mind,
But see, yeah, but
how to
that
even
reaction,
trust in them when you've
that,
surrendered.
that reaction to surrender is not from the view of surrender. Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm not sure I get that.
Well, that which isn't surrendering, the head is talking about what it thinks surrender would be. That's not what surrender is. You find out about it. Surrendering doesn't mean you don't do anything. It may mean you're going to do a lot. Yeah. So So surrendering doesn't mean, oh, you just let oh, I've surrendered. So you let the hunters, you open all the doors and windows so they don't have any trouble going through your property. That's not what surrender is. Surrender is giving up the ideas about surrender in a sense. Yeah. Or how you think. And the idea of creating a condition where my feeling of recovery is about a reliance on something greater than yourself. So I do not play the role of the creator of the environment or the doer of the thing. I just do what I live this life the best I can, and I find that something directs me or does for me what I can't do for myself. Yes? So uh, that's how I see it. So, and what in time and in dancing with life as it is, you are going to learn that you could face life successfully. How do you learn that? By facing life. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times when I face life, I remember very young in AA, when I did my first inventory, I had some outstanding warrants for arrest in a county nearby where I live called Alameda. And I had been in the prison or the jail of Alameda called Santa Rita, and I never wanted to go back there. So when I did the inventory and I went over stuff, I went over these outstanding warrants, and I told the person who I was working with, I'm not dealing with this now. Yeah. There's no way, because the only way I could see if I dealt with it, I was going to go back to Santa Rita. That was the only way my myopic view could see it. And I did not want to go to this place. It was pretty nasty. So I didn't do it. Okay.
Sorry,
But I
you didn't. What do
program.
you mean by dealing with warrants? What does that mean? Sorry.
Eh?
Can I just ask what that means? Dealing. You said
With
that.
warrants, when you break the law in America, uh, and you don't go to the court dates, they put out a warrant for your arrest. Yeah. So this they're loosely, you're not that important, but they're usually looking out for you. So if you do anything stupid, when they stop you, they're going to see you have warrants for other things that you haven't taken care of. Yes?
Got you.
And they're called a bench warrant, which is you go right to jail. Yeah. You don't, you go right to jail because you haven't taken care of the other, the charges that have been laid against you. Yeah. So I had these three things that were in this county that I would go to Santa Rita, this prison. So I wanted to avoid it at all costs. Okay. That didn't kick me out of AA or anything. I just told the guy I'm not doing it. And I kept on living sober. Yeah. And then I met this woman, and she had a name called July, but it wasn't her real name because she was an assistant DA, district attorney in San Francisco. So she worked in the judicial system. And before she met me and went out with me, she checked my records. And she saw I had these outstanding warrants for my arrest. And she said, and this was only about 8 months after I had said, I'm never going to deal with this shit. Yeah. So uh, she said, I can help you. Do you want to deal with it? And now at that point, I was willing to deal with it. Where 8 months before, I was never going to deal with it. I was now willing to deal with it. And she helped me out. And I had to pay fines for not showing up. I did not go to jail. It was amazing, literally. So I had no interest in doing it. I wanted to hide it forever. And then I met a district attorney when she met me, and she checked out my record and she said, listen, you got 3 outstanding warrants, Alameda, I'll help you. And I said, I didn't say no. I said, okay. And I had to go to court and I had to walk through fucking shit I didn't want to walk through. Yeah. But I learned I could face life successfully. That's how you learn you can face life successfully, is by facing life. And so, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I did not believe in my head anything would work out. And yet it worked out because something other than my head was influencing my life now. I had a new employer, being all powerful. It was taking care of me. All I had to do was suit up and show up to what was available that day. And I did to the best of my ability. Yeah. So I was never going to deal with it. And then I was ready to deal with it. What had changed? I had been influenced by 8 months by the life of sobriety. And it gave me the balls to face shit I had sworn I was never going to face. This was not all of it. This was just the legal shit. Yeah. And that's what happened. And everything that I had felt like conveniently avoiding most of my life, I was confronted by. Yeah. It was almost like love demanded itself from me. It wasn't going to let me get away with it. And I walked through a lot of shit and I found I could do it successfully, which meant not drinking and using or blowing my brains out or killing someone else and stuff like that. So, yeah. So the skillful means are readily available in the program. Yeah. And the surrender, just like we admit powerlessness and we feel power. So surrender is not a passive thing. Surrender is a declaration. And then you may be moved to do great fucking things, or you may be moved to do a lot of things, or you may not be moved to do anything. Yeah. But you don't know the effect of surrender before the surrender. You cannot project what it's going to look like if you surrender. It's just not. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all. That's the best I can say. I would just, if you have a real dilemma in you that something has you and you're driven to do things you don't want to do quite a lot, I would start with the first step and the second step and the third step and make a decision to turn this will in life called Michael or Paul over to the care of something else. And just stay sober a day at a time. Don't drink or use. And then there'll be a new director in your life. And it's not going to ask you to create anything, really. Yeah. It's not going to it's not going to ask you to do what you can't handle, because it's going to give you what it can handle, which is it can handle anything. So you can walk through a lot of shit. I've seen so many people face up to shit like manslaughter charges and shit like that by killing someone with a vehicle. And man, the respect I had, because that was a lot of faith in action. And amazing stuff comes about from this idea of surrender, I feel. Yeah? Yeah. So, and there's plenty of skillful means: prayer, doing service, tons of stuff to allow you to stay on the operating table, because the doctor is working on you, vertical or horizontal. Yeah. I think it's best horizontally, but if you want to get worked on vertically, you may get your ass kicked a lot of times, but hey, it's going to work anyway. Yes? Yeah. All right, bro. Good.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Nice to see you. Meet you.
Thank you,
I
Michael.
actually I met you in the beginning of January, but I didn't have my video on, and I had a
Oh,
similar question in the non-duality meeting. It was similar. It was about paranoia about being like a bad person internally, and again, it was similar because it's kind of not knowing what to trust in this world of stuff in this world
yes.
of. So maybe it's a bit similar. And
Well, know what's beautiful, Michael? You may not know what to trust, but you do know what not to trust. Start there. Start knowing what's not to be trusted, and you'll find what's there to be trusted. Yeah. You need to look at where the trust lies already. And it's usually the trust is lying in what's not to be trusted. This is the effects that are happening. Trust is faith, and faith is our strongest force. We represent faith. And when faith is put into self, it can lead to a life run on self-will, which is hardly going to be a success. Yes? So check out what's not to be trusted. Tell the truth about that. And I bet you, the trust has trust of faith is like a homing pigeon. It knows where to go when it's released of this bondage of self. I truly believe you don't have to direct faith. It will go back to what is faithful. Yes? Yes. Truly. All you see is what you're not. You see what's not trustworthy. I'll tell you, it's going to migrate to what is trustworthy. AA presents it in two ways: trust in the infinite rather than finite self. Yeah? So tell the truth of what a life of finite self with a lot of faith behind it looks like. And realize that's not to be trusted. And that's the point of surrender. Yeah? And then that you surrender running the faith, and then the faith gets directed by the higher power, and now it enriches your life and instead of enslaving your life. Yeah. Your greatest resource is faith. Something took advantage of that, which is the head, and the head has used your faith to produce its effects. It can't produce its effects without your faith. Yeah? It cannot drive to the fucking liquor store. It can't. It needs you to drive there. It cannot make a giant ruckus. It needs you to make the ruckus. It cannot produce misery. It can in your little head. It needs you to really go to town. Yeah. So I believe this whole event is based on faith. Yes. And so tell the truth about what's not to be trusted, and the faith will be put where it needs to be put in something that is to be trusted. Yeah? Yeah. It's simple, bro. It is. Let's say Paul is a rose bush. Paul isn't blooming as the rose bush. And then Paul is mad at other people, rose bushes that are blooming, and is blaming tons of shit and inevitably blames itself for being a bad rose bush. But really, that rose bush is just in a bad small pot with little soil, no sun, and no water. You take that rose bush that's not blooming and put it in a right condition, it's going to bloom. This is the situation. Yes? Yeah. In this case, faith is the soil, the light, the water, the size of the pot. Yes? Yeah. So I know you don't see. When I came in, I didn't trust me as far as I could throw me. So yes, my trust was completely eroded. Not the faith itself, but where it was put in. I didn't believe I could trust anything. Yes, yes. But I learned that something that I knew seriously, without putting in words, that no human power was going to get me sober. I knew that. After 2 years and 3 months in programs, under 10 months in a hospital bed, under jails and everything else, no human power was going to get me sober. Yet something got me sober. Yeah, that was like the clarion call for all the, pigeons to go fly right to that point of whatever got me sober is definitely worthy of faith, because nothing else could. Yeah, bammo. Yes. Now that faith that produced bottom upon bottom is now producing an ease and comfort. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right. So don't worry. Just see what's not to be trusted. Tell the truth about it. Yeah. And there will be a shift, and you will observe it. You will not make the shift. You will observe the shift. Yeah. All you do is make a decision. The decision that you do not create the shift. You do not even make, you just make a decision, and then there will be a shift, and you will observe it. You will observe that the faith has been put into something else. Let's call it the infinite. You will not put the faith in there. You will observe the faith has been put into the infinite. It's very clear. You are not going to do it. You thinking you can do it is faith in the self. Yes. Yes.
Do you make that decision multiple times over the course of your life? That you mentioned that even you have to go sometimes back to step 6 and 7. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, but 6 and 7 is different than 3.
Sorry, I'm not so familiar. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
the
still
3
new to them. Yeah.
decision to turn your will and life over. So some people believe that's a one moment affair, and then the rest of the life is the effect of that decision. Other people they feel like they've forgotten, or let's say they go back out, then they come back in and they redecide once again to turn their will and life over to the care of something greater than themselves. Yes? So it can be once, it can be a number of times, but the decision doesn't hold any weight until you do steps 4 through 9, which is the working steps. And 6 and 7 are part of the working steps. So the decision is given life by the work, the 4 through 9. Yeah. And so now your decision has some weight. In other words, when you make a commitment, you show up for the fucking commitment. Yeah. When you make an amends, you actually live the amends. You don't just say you're sorry and then keep doing it over and over again. There will be a change in behavior. Yeah.
Would
And
you
things
call
like that.
those steps 4 to 9? Would you call those skillful means?
You can call them very skillful means, yes. They're a package of skillful means, yes, 4 through
In
9.
other words, they are a kind of skillful when in Rome. Just, do you know what I
Most
mean?
definitely, most
Okay,
definitely,
okay.
yes. Because you're like a giant SUV in Rome, where all the Romans have little Fiats. Yeah, you got a giant SUV that's banging into fucking everything because the roads aren't built for a giant SUV. They're built for small little vehicles. Yes. So the size of our head is like, I hate Rome. Well, you're not doing as the Romans do. They drive small fucking cars and Vespas and bikes. That's what they do. You very rarely see. Every once in a while, a rich Italian will bring a car out for a festive occasion or maybe to be seen. But what they're driving usually is a freaking Fiat 500 or something. Because the roads are thin. Yeah. So, yeah. So the head is like an SUV trying to park in Rome. Yeah. So this obsession with us needs to be shrunk so you can get into the parking places. So you can learn you can live life successfully. You're not going to do it you don't need a fucking Humvee. You don't need a Humvee in Rome. You don't need like an armored personnel carrier. You need a small little car. Or a Vespa. Yes? So this is what happens. You fit yourself around life instead of trying to fit it around you. Yes? Yes. You admit that you're broken, that what is necessary to happen you can't do, and suddenly a miracle occurs, and that which you couldn't do for yourself happens. Yes? And you have the great joy of recognizing that and a great feeling of gratitude and honor for that which has done for you what you could not do for yourself. I could not live a day at a time sober. I couldn't. I had to get loaded. I had to change how I felt or thought. Now, I'm as sober as you fucking can be. All the shit that drove me to drink is still driving me, but it's not to drink. It's to share and let's join together as a we and travel lighter. Yes. And maybe just do less harm. There's enough harm being done. We could chill out a little. Yeah. Yeah. We meet every week and we don't really talk about the world's affairs because it's none of our business at this meeting. Yeah, our business is to see how we can be helpful for the struggling person and to be able to practice these principles in all our affairs. That's the agenda. Yeah, yeah. And how do you do better? Do you do better traveling lighter or heavy? usually traveling lighter. Yes. So we're all in the traveling lighter camp. Yeah. So Mike, thank you, Michael. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Michael. Well, we have no other hands up right now, Paul. Would you like to say your goodbyes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hello, goodbye. It's the same. Eh?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll all return somewhere and see each
Oh,
other.
hey, Paul, can you hold on a second? Rico just threw his hand up. Hey, Rico.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, family. Thank you for letting me be here with you. I send you love and light from my heart to yours. Good to be here. Paul, I have one curiosity question. The young lady you were talking about, the DA, did she provide you with a little extra incentive by sharing with you that she wouldn't be able to go out with you unless you took care of those things?
Yes.
I thought so.
Well,
Thank
she gave me a lot of, yeah, I needed a
That's
little,
all from that
I
position.
needed a little oomph, and she provided the oomph. Yes. Yeah. No, it was amazing. Literally, it was literally amazing because I had conveniently forgotten the 3 warrants, even though the state hadn't forgotten the 3 warrants, and it was very important that she reminded me of them because I would have been reminded much harsher getting stopped on the street for like a parking situation or something. Yes. So it was wonderful. I was reluctant to do it, but with a little push, I was willing. Yeah. Which was great. I had a willingness, but I was reluctant. I had a huge reluctant with a little willingness. So life gave me a push called July, her name. And yeah. Yep. It's happened more than once, not just in that situations. My head would love to conveniently avoid a lot of shit. uh, it wants to turn a living thing into a storage unit. Yeah, be completely dominated by the past and the present moment. Yeah, well, that little bit of willingness was teased out of me in a lot of ways. It's great. I'm missing you. I can't hear you, bro. Rico. Yes. Oh, great. Yeah. 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 This isn't virtue. Yeah. I didn't turn virtuous. I just had to stand in front of the unworkability of this life. And I had to hear the truth being told about because my head would not tell me the truth. It wouldn't. I had to stand there and something gave me the balls to do that. And then I realized I was fucked and that uh, my life was unmanageable because something that couldn't manage it kept managing it. Yeah. Yeah, it was I would have, taptoed around it the rest of my life if I could have. But something put a stop to it, which is great. Seriously. Yeah. The funny thing is, if you have a minute, years ago, my girlfriend was going on through a divorce, and I was assigned a role in the divorce, which I didn't have actually. So I had to go to court again for the first time in years. And I had to get on the witness stand, which was, and usually when I used to go to court, I didn't have anything. I never said anything. It was just listening. But I had to go to court, and there was a real, almost physical reluctance to go there because of the history that I have. Yeah. Yet life brought up this situation, and I went. I bought, I didn't go all the way to a suit, but I wore some nice clothes, and I sat there, and it was amazing because my old idea of it got changed by going back to it. Yes. And I think this is what life does a lot. Life takes us to where we were defeated and shows us the great success in it. Yeah. Blew my mind. It really did. So, yeah. Thank you. So, hey, Michael Stacy, thanks so much. And hopefully I'll see you today at 4:30 Pacific time.
You will, Paul. And just real quickly, Brian C has his hand up. Can we squeeze Brian in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, hey Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I came here to the meeting with like, lots of hatred and resentment towards my brothers, like blaming them for all this shit that's happening or I think is happening. And yeah, I'm traveling lighter right now, and a lot of that resentment got taken away. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Yeah.
Great. That's what, yeah.
Yeah.
We love hearing those acknowledgments because it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's acknowledgement is necessary for this thing to grow because the head wants to stamp it out at any moment. So it's nice to really acknowledge and build like a temporary temple on that sacred ground. Hey, I was full of resentment and hate, and now I'm not. Hallelujah. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. All right, John in Florida. Nice to see you, my man. Axel in Germany. Nice to see Axel. Rick Rowe, Toronto. Joseph, France. Mickey, our eternal greeter. Yes. Walter. I like the profile there, Walter. It's nice. Yeah. You're watching a movie that's more interesting than the Zoom. Pretty good. Roman Mueller. Roman Mueller. Matthew in the UK. Nice to see you, Matthew. Oliver in Berlin. Yeah. Seems to be outside. That's good. Miss Folkman, thank you for sharing, Miss Folkman. I think you're a very wise person because you don't have the alcoholic or addictive tendencies, but you see the value in the 12 steps.
Yes, I certainly too, but I'm also addicted to cigarettes, and there are so many more addictions, subtle addictions also, no? So we are all in the right place here, I think.
Well, I'm taking back my nice words then. No, no.
No.
Matthew. Do what you will with them, but yeah, I really believe, obviously, it was pigeonholed to be for alcoholics and addicts, and now they're used for everything, like food and everything. But it's just a wonderful way. If someone was smarter and got there before them, they could have made a lot of money with the 12 steps of AA. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because if you took away the AA and feeling and all that off of it, people would pay $40,000 to go to a 1 month seminar on this shit. Wouldn't they? They probably would. Yeah. Yeah. Freely given, freely received, freely given. Pretty good. Yeah. All right. We got Walter, we got Matthew, UK, we got Miss Volkman, we got Ryan in Phoenix. Nice to see you, Ryan. John K, our man. Michael, pleasure. Jess in Ireland. Nice to see you, Jess. Yep. I don't have the other page, and I'm not going to try to get there. Thank you, everyone. We're here today at 4:30 Pacific time on the other topic. Watch the bread and watch the meat in this sandwich. Who knows? Yeah. So, all right, we'll see you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you for your
Paul.
service, Michael.